Whether you're a returning player, new player, or someone that just maybe hasn't been in the loop like myself with Destiny over the last month or so with our newborn baby, it's easy to miss some of the major systematic changes dropping with Edge of Fate and unknowingly being at a massive disadvantage when the DLC drops next week. So today I'll be covering what exactly has changed and how you can quickly acquire god tier armor splits this week with very minimal effort. I'm Above, and if you enjoyed today's video, a like and subscription is always appreciated. Now let's get into it. I want to shift our focus to the armor changes specifically, because basically everything is changing. For example, stat thresholds now go up to 200 instead of just 100, and the current mobility stat that isn't really being used all that much in the game currently is being changed to the weapon stat that can now give you a flat 15% bonus damage against bosses when you reach the 200 stat threshold. So yeah, the stat is pretty much going to be mandatory, and almost no one except those who have been farming for day 1 raid armor last week have super high mobility focused armor heading into the DLC. On top of this, we will now have armor archetypes that will spike 2 specific armor stats depending on the archetype that you choose. However, there will not be an archetype that allows you to spike the current mobility, aka the new weapon stat, and intellect, the new super stat, together. And intellect is just as, if not more important for DPS classes, as a 200 stat in this category will grant you 45% more damage to your super, which is absolutely insane and leads me to the point of today's video. I'm sure many of you have seen the term illegal armor farms being thrown around over the last week or so, and that's because you can currently farm armor that spikes in both mobility and intellect, which will translate to weapon and super damage bonuses in the upcoming DLC, as I mentioned earlier. Bungie also stated that these stats will convert 1-to-1 in the new expansion, so as it stands right now, this is currently the only way we'll be able to acquire some of the most important stat spikes together on the same pieces of armor. Now, it is unlikely that you'll reach 200 in both of these stats, as you'd need a max 30 roll stat in both mobility and intellect, with absolutely no other wasted stats on a maxed out 68 piece of legendary armor, but with the echo engrams I'll be talking about today, you'll definitely see some extremely spiky pieces of armor that will get you significantly closer to those maximum damage bonuses. As it stands right now, my Titan is sitting at 171 mobility, which will translate to 15% increased damage against minor and major enemies, and a 7.1% increase to my damage with heavy weapons against bosses. Your intellect stat can be artificially boosted by 60 using 3 Font of Wisdom mods during DPS, which is why I've aimed for higher mobility pieces overall. And with the new class items in Edge of Fate, I should be able to get somewhere close to a 180-170 split, which is more than good enough for me. So how can you guys do this? First things first, you will need to complete Act 1 of Episode Echoes to have access to this farm. Most of you have probably already done this, but if you haven't, it shouldn't take more than a couple hours to do so. You'll need to get through Act 1 and also make sure that you complete the NES 001 side quest that unlocks the high tier armor focusing. And if you're anything like me, you'll have 99 engrams just sitting there doing nothing for you. So once complete, we're going to head to the helm and click into the seasonal engram decoding. It is at this point that you can start focusing individual pieces of armor. The only other thing to note is that you will want a mobility armor equipped on your ghost before doing any of this to ensure that at least one of your spikes will always land in mobility. I recommend doing one helmet, gauntlet, chest, and legs on repeat until you get a solid piece in each slot. And once you have a really solid piece, like I do with these gauntlets for example, you can put more engrams towards different slots with lacking stats until you can kind of even them out. I pretty much hit my current stat threshold from one batch of echo engrams, but if you want to farm even more of them, you can simply do so by playing the game passively this week or farming the Breach executable seasonal activity to maximize your drops. And with very minimal effort, you guys can get some pretty insane armor just before the DLC drops next week. Well guys, that's gonna do it for the video. I hope you guys found this useful, and if you did, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for your guys' patience while I've been away for the last month with our newborn, and let me know down in the comments what you're most excited for with Edge of Fate. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!